Hi everyone, welcome to Dennis Deep Cuts, the 48th installment of this fine YouTube series. Today we're going to talk about the best music of 2023 with old songs on it. The best old new music. Let's see what happens. It's that time of the year again. Lists are here. We're going to talk about the records of 2023 that I liked the most. Records with reissues, re-releases, box sets, etc., etc. So basically, new records that are containing old music. Some people love old music, so if your favorite band released a new demo compilation or something, you might be super excited. That's what we're going to talk about today. I didn't release any old music this year. People keep reminding me that Shape of Punk turned 25 this year, which is insane. Might be something coming down the pipeline with that record, but I'll keep you posted. Maybe I'll do something about that record on this show eventually, if you want to hear me talk about that. Next week, I'm going to take some time off over Christmas, basically. December, January, I'm going to do every other week. But then the week after that, I'm going to do the list of the best albums of 2023. It's going to be super exciting, so stay tuned for that. And as always, my list, my records, my recommendations. It's very, very, very highly objective. All right, let's do this. So records are re-released and repressed for different reasons. I'm going to try to stay clear of just the repressings of records, but one or two might have snuck in. Sometimes, and this is my favorite example, a record gets lost and it never gets released, and then 30 years later someone discovers it and releases it, and the first one, number 10 on my list, is one of those records. It's DTAL, Dark Dimensions of War, Swedish hardcore band from the 80s. They put out two 7-inches, kind of crusty D-beat hardcore. And then they went into the studio in 1990 to record their first full-length record for Chicken Brain Records. As things sometimes happen, it got lost in the shuffle, and this record remained unreleased until now. Frederick from Star Trek found it in a storage unit somewhere, and he was like, holy shit, maybe someone should release this. And I think one of the guys from Millencolin, I think, put it out. The music is thrashy, crusty, D-beat. I said stenchcore, not quite sure what that is, but it's like crusty metal, hardcore, kind of in the veins of maybe Sacrilege, maybe Broken Bones, something like that, and Touch of Venom maybe thrown in there. I like the story about the record a touch more than I like the record, but the record's also pretty awesome, so check it out. On 9th place, we have my favorite, one of my favorite guitar players. It's Mudu Mukhtar from Niger, and it's the Niger EP, Volume 1, and also you have Volume 2. This is demos, unreleased stuff, live material. Mudu Mukhtar put out a record a couple of years ago called Afrique Victim. It's fantastic, and he is still touring, and they call him the Jimi Hendrix of the Saharas. So if you like cool guitar music, you check it out. And I like these little EP compilations with unreleased stuff. A little while back, I did an episode about Adrien Borland, one of my favorite singers and songwriters. Mostly known for his work in the band The Sound, the post-punk band The Sound. And someone released an album called A New Way of Life, which is demos, unreleased demos with The Sound. If you're a completist, if you're someone that loves The Sound, then this is perfect for you. Demo versions of songs around Shock of Daylight and Heads and Hearts around that time. There's a couple of B-sides on here as well from different 7-inches, and I think there's one unreleased track. It's all demos, so if you're new to Adrien Borland and new to The Sound, maybe go check out like the first 5 records of The Sound. But if you're like me, if you love The Sound, it's cool to hear some of these my favorite songs in demo versions. On the 7th spot, we have a band that's like a new band, but this is a re-release of their first 2 tapes. The band Poison Ruins from Philly. They're great, kind of dark, weird, post-punk kind of hardcore band. Definitely, they have a very unique sound. They put out a full length this year. We'll see if it makes it to the top 10 list. But I like this. It got released a couple of years ago on some other label, but Relapse put this out this year. It's their first 2 tapes or cassettes on one fine record. So check out Poison Ruins. They're great. This next one's a bit weird because it's a new record that came out this year and it's newly recorded. So I was like, I don't know if I can have this on the reissues or old music, but it's all old songs. There's a band that I love that decided to do the dreaded re-recording, and I'm of course talking about the new Voivod record, Morga Tales. Voivod celebrates like 40 years as being the best band in the world, and they wanted to do something. At first they talked about putting out like a greatest hits or something like that, but then they decided let's re-record deep cuts from our catalog and just put that out. And it's cool. I tend to think that a recording of a record is something, it's like a documentation of a time and place. It's really hard to touch that. And I'd listen to this as I would listen to like a live in the studio recording. And if you listen to it with those ears, it's actually great. It's the first song is Condemned to the Gallows, which is the first song they ever released on one of those Metal Massacres compilations. And then they do songs from the complete discography up until the last like 3 records when they got back together with the singer. And there's one brand new track on the record called Morga Tales. And if you're a fan of Voivod, you might need this. If you're not a fan of Voivod, check it out. They're one of the best bands to ever exist. On 5th place is a record that's just like a repressing of an album basically, but it's such a beautiful repressing that I wanted to include it. And it's like a limited edition thing. I am of course talking about the Sun Ra, Space is the Place. This is a real limited edition, like super nice vinyl pressing. Fake Names played at the Third Man Records record store in Detroit a while back, and they hooked me up with one of these. And it's a wonderful record, and it sounds great, looks great, and you know, why not? Sun Ra, magnificent. On 4th place is an album that's never been released on vinyl before. It got released on CD in the 90s, and it's electronic. It's the Johnny Marr Bernard Summer project, their electronic pop band that they did in the 90s. And it's like their greatest hits record with some remixes and stuff. And it's been a CD release only. Electronics is kind of great. When it's great, it's great. Then there's some 90s tendencies when Bernard Summer's rapping. Maybe you don't need that, but the songwriting is pretty fantastic. And yeah, if you like New Order, if you like the Smiths, check it out. It's a cool record. Top 3, what do we got? We got more Adrien Borland stuff. You remember Adrien Borland from this episode? He had a band called Second Layer. That was his minimalist synth punk kind of band. They put out a couple of 7-inches and one LP. And this compilation has both the 7 inches and some unreleased stuff on it. And it's great. If you don't want to spend money on the 7 inches, then check out this one. The Second Layer is great. If you want to hear me talk about more in depth about them and Adrien Borland, do check out that episode I keep talking about. I think it's one of the best episodes I ever done. So, but yeah, Second Layer, 3rd place. And as always, this list is about records that I own in my collection. I'm sure there are plenty of cool reissues that I haven't got my hands on yet, or that people haven't sent me. And case an example is the new SSD. Kids will have their say, the beautiful reissue on Trust Records that I'm still waiting to You know, I'm still going out every morning to my mailbox, and it's like, where is it? But Trust Records put out this beautiful, beautiful record earlier this year. 7 Seconds, Walk Together, Rock Together, one of the best punk hardcore records of all time. And this is how you do a reissue. You have a beautiful booklet with tons of photos and interviews and stuff like that. And then there's like an extra 7-inch, the Walk Together EP. And that's how you do a reissue. If you're going to reissue stuff, I mean, sometimes just repress the record, but this is a beautiful way to do it. And I think Trust Records been, you know, knocking it out of the park with all the reissues. They've been flawless, and I can't wait for what other stuff they have in store. Fantastic. And it's 7 Seconds, what a band, you know. I love this record so much. And then when you get, I mean, I've owned this record for 30 plus years, but then when you get 35 years maybe, yeah, then when you get like a reissue like this, you listen to it a couple of times and you're like, oh, it's such a great record. So second place, 7 Seconds. First place, old music, released in 2023. It had to be the Quicksand Slip 30-year anniversary edition. This is such a good record. It was such a game changer when it came out, and I listened to this record so much. And this is a beautiful, beautiful record as well. And it has all these testimonials and interviews, and you have people like me talking about how much I love Quicksand, how much I love this record. I mean, it is one of the greatest records of the 90s, I would say. Maybe. I'm also chuffed that Quicksand are still playing and putting out great records, and, you know, they're just a great band. Yeah, my favorite reissue of the year. It's a great record, and there you have it. I'm going to take next week off, but then in 2 weeks, the best records of 2023. How many records did you buy in 2023 that were released in 2023? I bought a lot. It was a good year for buying records. Yeah, until next time, stay wild, my friends. Bye-bye.